One of my favorite things to build are items that represent a story. This is the story of the wine cap box. I live in a region of Canada that is known for its ability to grow grapes for wine. But I recently had the opportunity to travel to another wine region in the States. You may know this region as Napa Valley. It was really interesting to see the vineyards there. And I noticed that the foliage on the grapevine had this beautiful red fall color. This is something that I've never seen here before because either our grapevine doesn't change or more likely the leaves fall off before they have a chance to change color. Or maybe it's the variety. What made this trip really special was that we got to visit our friends who recently started their own vineyard. And we had the opportunity to try the wine that were produced right on their land. To say that it inspired me is an understatement. And we may or may not be looking into getting grape planted on our own property now, because we just happen to have a full acre sitting untouched in one of the best wine regions of Canada. Now, I really wanted to create something special for our friends as a thank you for letting us visit. They let us try the wine, and we got to learn more about their journey of getting their operations up and running. So I'm making them a special gift that will complement the wine they consume in the form of a wine cap box. You may know this as a wine cork box, but their wine is not corked, so this will be a wine cap box and will hopefully be a nice complement to their venture as wine producers. My plan is to make a box, inlay it with their logo using my brand new Shipoko CNC, and then engrave something fun into the acrylic that will allow you to see the caps filling up over time. For this project, I chose walnut, and I will later be using some hard maple for the inlay portion. The walnut I'm using is pretty special to me because it's one of the last boards from a batch I purchased from a local farmer a few years ago. The wood had been chopped down by his dad right on their land and was then stored in a barn to dry for 50 plus years because the dad passed away before he had a chance to use it himself. It's one of those pieces that I've been holding on to, not willing to let it be used for just about anything. Do you know what I'm talking about? Sometimes it's hard to let go of pieces. Now, I have to admit that I'm a bit of a wood hoarder. Usually, it just pertains to random scrap pieces that I can't seem to let go, just in case they're needed later. But for these boards, it was more the fear that I would waste them if I didn't find the right project to make with this wood. So I'm very glad that they're finally being put to use for a project that will hopefully be cherished for many years to come. This project was made extra special to me because it will also be the very first time that I'm using my brand new CNC. It's been a purchase on my wish list for more than a year, and I finally have the space for it in my new shop. I personally see this as a tool to take my woodworking ideas even further, and not as a standalone tool that will do all the work. So when I recently saw a video tutorial by Carbide 3D about inlays, I knew I had to incorporate this technique into one of my own projects. So here you're seeing me carve the inlay and plug that will be merged together later on. And just to clarify, when I say the first time I'm using my CNC, I mean for a full project. I have obviously been testing it some more to make sure that I'm not going to mess this up. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're returning, thanks so much for coming back. It's officially 2025. The year has just begun, and this is my first project of the year. And on this channel, you will find a variety of easy-to-build beginner projects and projects of me building whatever I feel like. That would be this kind of video. If you have a question about the tools or techniques I use, then feel free to comment below. I answer all of my comments, and I value constructive feedback. And if you like what you see, then please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I truly would appreciate that. I am being tested by my bandsaw. My blade refused to cut straight when I went to cut off the plug. Maybe I should have used my resaw blade, but instead I said screw it, and I used my CNC instead to remove the majority of the plug, and then I finished it off over on my drum sander. Like I said, the CNC is another tool in my shop, not a standalone to do all of the work, but this time it was also my Sanity Saver. Do you have a tool in your shop that's causing constant frustration? Let me know in the comments below. For this box, I decided to use mitered corners cut at a 45-degree angle. My primary reason for this was because I also needed to cut a groove that the acrylic front will sit inside. And by cutting miters, this will hide the groove so that you can't see it on the outside. The glue up for this box was simple enough, or so I thought. I used painter's tape to hold the corners together and started the assembly. And as you can see here, the full box came together. But I am just forgetting about one key element. I made the inside groove for an acrylic sheet to sit inside, so how exactly am I supposed to get that inside with all the pieces being glued up? Whoops-a-daisy. Luckily, I did catch my mistake before the glue had dried, so no real damage was done, and it was just one of those moments where you're in the zone thinking you know exactly what the next step is. With the 3 sides done instead of the 4, and being all glued up and dried, I added the backboard and glued that in place as well. I did a heck of a lot of sanding, but I'm sparing you from seeing that lengthy part. So instead, I decided to finish the parts already done with 3 layers of spar urethane done over 3 days, 24 hours in between for drying. I decided to use urethane because it's weatherproof, and I'm not exactly sure if this box is going to be kept inside or outside, as it is Napa Valley that they reside in, so maybe this will be an outdoor thing for them. As well, the caps that come off wine, the wine bottles, may not be completely dry by the time that they make it inside of this box. So there is a good chance that there's going to be some excess moisture on the inside of this box, and that can cause some issues. So I want to take all the precautions that I possibly can. Now, I did make a nice large hole at the top for the caps to be added, but also so that some air will be able to get inside. But I am curious to know if you think I should have added a second air vent to this box. Let me know in the comments below. With the inside coated multiple times, it was finally time to lock in the acrylic artwork that I created. But before doing so, I wanted to make absolutely sure that the acrylic didn't have any fingerprints or dust, as once I have enclosed this, I'm not going to be able to clean it inside. so I took my time. And then I was finally ready to glue on the top. I allowed it to dry before finally being able to also coat the outside, again using 3 coats of spar urethane. That's the thing about woodworking. It's never quick. You may be able to complete 90% of the project in a day or two, but the finishing parts, such as the sanding and coating, it always takes weeks, which is why it's great to have multiple projects going on at the same time. And with the final parts glued and coated, this wine cap box was done and ready to be shipped to Napa to be enjoyed by our friends. The shipment has not yet arrived at our friend's house, so I'll have to let you know the next time if they enjoyed it, because they don't even know this is coming. But for me, I can say that I truly enjoyed building it. Working with walnut is such a treat. It's a beautiful finish when it's coated, and it's one of my absolutely favorite things about walnut. It really shines when done. And the inlay in maple really made the letters and logo pop. If I had to do it again, I think I'll choose a less stringy wood for the inlay. But regardless, I was so thrilled to finally have a completed project that not only utilized my own woodworking skills, but also my new employee's skills, aka my Shapoko 5 CNC. So that concludes the story of the wine cap box. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you soon in the next Wood Story.